So we have learned what is motivation, why we need to study, and what makes people motivated. Now we're moving to two large questions, and in this video clip, we will answer two. The first question, which is big question in our practice, in our profession. Why do people engage in a certain activity, and how do we know whether their motives that they bring to you are healthy to promote or unhealthy to redirect, retrain, which is tightly associated with self-determination theory. After that, we will answer to the last question in this segment, which is how do you motivate your members? And there is another theory, sub-theory in under self-determination theory. Here we go. Why people do exercise? This video, several people will talk about why they do exercise. Then now what I want you to do, I want you to go to this wiki link in this week's lesson module, and then share why you do your exercise. I do exercise because I have a really bad back problem, and then I want to deal with it. If I don't do it, I get hurt. I have knee problems also. That's why I do my exercise. What are your reasons for doing your exercise? Let me give you some examples here why people do also exercise on top of what you said. Maybe you share the common reasons with these examples. This gentleman says, I do exercise because I value a healthy lifestyle, and it's a balance between what I do in other side and in keeping my health. Wonderful. This gentleman says, I love these thrill sensations when I do this crazy activity. I love it. And the sensation that I'm getting, sensation seekers tended to do certain exercise, not exercise even, this kind of crazy activity to feel that that thrill. And then that's the reason that they are doing that activity. Why do you do exercise? And this little boy said, because I feel good and I want to feel good and I want to be stronger. That's the reason. And this gentleman said, why do you do exercise? My doctor told me to do exercise. If I don't, I get in huge trouble because I have a high cholesterol level, blood pressure, and my health condition, I have to do exercise. Why do you do exercise? And this piglet says, I want to look good. I want to stay in shape. A lot of you actually say that in your reasons. Why do you do exercise? There are a number of actually people out there. Why do you do what you do? And they say, I don't know. No idea. Why do you do exercise or play sports? And they will say, what? I love my friends, and all my friends do that activity or play that sports. They are on that team. I want to be with them. Social reasons, social networking also. Why do you do exercise? I want to lose weight, or I want to fit into smaller class, the dress sizes. Number of us who have the same reason. Why do you do exercise? Because I want to eat more. I have really fun story about this. One of our former faculty member who used to teach physical exercise physiology course 480 to 483 a while ago. He retired from the program a while ago, and he's a runner. Like, he used to run around the lake, that's about 4 miles, or around the track every day when he's on campus. And one day I saw him running far beyond that his regular routine, which was Great Highway area, Ocean Beach area. And I was driving by, and then I saw Steve running that Great Highway all the way. And of course he started from the campus, so he went way farther out than normal routine. So next day I asked Steve, hey Steve, I saw you on Great Highway yesterday. You went pretty far. And then he said, Yeah, I had to because I had a party that night and he wanted to work out a little bit more so that he can drink a couple more can of beers and eat a little bit more. So a lot of us actually do exercise to eat more, or you eat a lot and you feel guilty and next day you tended to do a little bit extended hours of workout. That's the reason. And why do you do exercise? Yeah, social reasons, my routines every day. Why do you do exercise? If I don't do, I get in trouble. Those are the common reasons that people say. So I put those reasons on the left, like a fun, like it, daily routine, healthy life, weight control. If I don't do it, I feel guilty. Oh, to manage my stress. A lot of you actually say that you're doing a workout to manage your stress. And because of my friend, the social life, I don't know. Oh, I get so bored and I try to kill time, stay in shape, stay fit. So now my question here, with all these reasons for exercise, how do we know which ones are healthy reasons to promote, to help them to continue that with the same reason, and which ones are unhealthy, inappropriate? So as a practitioner ourselves, redirect that reason or retrain that reason. How do we know that? And there is one big theory help us to understand those reasons and draw the line which ones are healthy, which ones are not healthy. Okay, that is called the self-determination theory. According to the self-determination theory, which explains motivational regulations in continuum between self-determined form of regulation, non-self-determined forms of regulations, motivational regulations. Within the continuum, there are 5 different motivational regulations. Based on your own exposure to different information about motivation, I bet you know intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. In this theory, which came out not that long ago, and it's so popular out there to understand the human motivational process, it's more than 2. It's more than intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. So in this continuum, having that said, in this continuum, you will see self-determined form of motivational regulation 100%. So if motivation is near to this level, it's a lot more like you decided to do it. Internally that you decided to do it. Bottom of this continuum, non-self-determined form of regulation, which means you are doing the activity because of nothing to do with your internal decision, outside something is forcing you to do it. So it's kind of an impersonal, like a forced type of motivation on the bottom. Let me start with intrinsic motivation here, which you have good understanding. 100% self-determined because you want to learn, you want to achieve your goals or improve yourself, which is your goal, or you want to feel that sensation. You love sensation seekers. I love that feeling after running, runner's high. I love when I jump off the cliffs. That's why I'm doing that activity, hang gliders. And they have reason for their own. And then that's why they are doing it. And then they always say, I love it. I love doing it. That's intrinsic motivation right there. Second level, which is integrated regulation here, you integrated value of health behavior, what you're doing, into your life value. So you try to balance it out, what you do, and then along with what other things that you do, because those are all important. Simple example is brushing your teeth. You don't really decide to do it and you love to do it, but you know the importance of keeping your teeth healthy, right? That's why you're doing it. And a lot of many cases, those who have integrated motivational regulation say, I just do it. Why do you do it? Good question. I just do it. Why? Because it's been integrated as routine in their life, and then that's why they are doing it. And oftentimes they say, I just do it. I love it at the same time. And that's integrated regulation. Another one in this continuum called identified regulation. it's not really 100% self-determined. It's not into your value of life, but you identified you need to do that particular activity so that you can enjoy overall your life. So if you love, let's say, volleyball, playing volleyball, that's your true intrinsic motivation, but you're not really good at jumping, then you identified you need to practice jumping drills so that you can enjoy playing volleyball. You got it? That is identified regulation. Sometimes, many times, people tend to say, I need to do this. Not like, I love to do this. It's not just you doing it, but oftentimes you say, I need to do it. So in the self-determination continuum, when it goes below the middle level, so it's going lower side of it, there is one motivational regulation called introjected regulation. It's not from outside yet, but it's your internally. You are telling yourself to do it. If you don't do it, then you feel guilty or there is a fear, negative emotion intertangled with that activity, the reason for doing that activity. So because of that, people tend to say, I must do it, I have to do it. If I don't do it, I get in trouble. That is called introjected regulation. The last one in this continuum is called external regulation. Many cases people understand this external regulation as what? Extrinsic motivation. Honestly, from integrated, except intrinsic motivation, integrated regulation, all the way down to external regulations are extrinsic motivation. That's an expansion of the extrinsic motivation in under this self-determination theory. This external motivation or regulation is defined as external force. So the reason that you are doing certain activity, the reason that you are doing physical activity, exercise, workout is because your doctor told you to do it. If you don't do it, you get in trouble with the doctor, not with yourself. Your mom told you to do it. Your coach made you to do it. That's why you're doing it. It's nothing to do with your internal determination. And on the side, I put that A motivation there, which means there is no motivation to do it, not to do it. It's just learned helplessness behavior. That's called A motivation. So I put it on the side. And in some books and in publications, sometimes people put that A motivation, which is no motivation, under this continuum, but it's not really appropriate. So for your understanding, I put that on the side like that. That's a self-determination theory. I have this FYI slide with the examples and what I just described, so that when you're doing self-learning, you have a more information here. Now, after you learn the self-determination theory, what would you say on the following statement, whether it's true or not? We did this IQ test in the first week of this course. Regardless form of motivation, the more motivated the athlete or exerciser is, better now? Answer is no, because it depending on whether they have healthy motivation or not. Oh, what does it mean by healthy versus unhealthy motivation? How do they, researchers, scientists, define which motivations are healthy, which motivations are unhealthy? In self-determination, it was a continuum, but how do they say why? How could they say some are more healthy, some are healthier than the others? What is their base to make that decision? That's for this slide. there has been a lot of research about this self-determination theory. Even prior to conceptualizing self-determination theory, there were a lot of research about intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation, and which ones are healthy or which ones are not, right? And the conclusion prior to self-determination theory, intrinsic motivation is healthier. We know that. But now they expand, intrinsic motivation is healthier than extrinsic motivation. And we know that by those research findings and very conclusive, right? But now this concept has been expanded like that, and then have more motivational regulations between intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Did they test it? Oh yes, of course they did it. When they did test based on the consequences outcome of these motivational regulations in human ABC, like their direction of emotions, their behaviors, their cognitive process, what they have found so far, if individuals have intrinsic motivation, integrated regulation, or identified motivational regulation in their activity, they're more likely to have a positive ABC, positive emotions, better performance, more effort in an activity, persist when things are not going well, tend to pick challenging tasks so that they can improve their behavior. When things are not going well, they use adaptive coping strategies, healthy coping strategies, compared to those who have unhealthy motivational regulations. Even those who have healthy motivational regulations, which are those three, perceive stressful situation as opportunity rather than it's out of control for them, and then they tend to report a stable confidence level or higher confidence level in their activity. On the other hand, those who have unhealthy motivational regulation, which are introjected regulation, extrinsic motivational regulation, and amotivation, their ABC tended to be very inappropriate or unhealthy. Under self-determination theory, threshold to determine, again I said that, but I'm re-emphasizing it, to determine which ones are healthier than the others, the threshold is right at what? Identified regulation. And then above identified regulation, which include integrated regulation, and these are all intrinsic motivation, they tended to feel more autonomy than that below the threshold, which are amotivation, external regulation, introjected regulation. And then people, those who have more autonomy with up here self-determined form of motivations, they are more likely to produce positive ABC. So external regulation is always bad, extrinsic motivation is always bad. Not really. It depending on your timeline of a motivation. In short term, extrinsic motivation, forcing them to do it and making them fear about certain things, right? Introjected regulation. Within short period, they could produce better outcome because they got pushed to do it. However, in long term, we cannot get pushed all the time. We know how detrimental that can be when you have to do certain things by external force. So we need to help them to develop internal connection with what they do with more autonomy. In long term, because of that, intrinsic motivation produce much better outcomes in ABC. However, if you have a short period of time and you have to produce good outcome, extrinsic motivation can be effective. Now, I am adding another layer to self-determination theory. Self-determination theory is omnibus theory. It's called omnibus theory. It has a small theories came together. So I just explained one layer of it. Now I'm going to add another layer to it, which is called psychological need or basic psychological needs, which include competence. It's a perception, okay? Perceived competence, perceived autonomy, and a perceived relatedness. Oh, what are those? Perceived competence is basically your confidence, perceived confidence that you can do the given task effectively, challenging task you can do well. It's your confidence. Another one is autonomy. You're feeling, like I said, if you have more autonomy, you will more form the more self-determined form of motivation, right? That is exactly there. So if you feel more like choices, and you can make a decision on what you need to do, having that autonomy in choices, and that is called autonomy, okay? And then relatedness, people network, you feel belong to, you feel related to the people who are involved in that activity. And when these basic psychological needs, three of them, competence, autonomy, and relatedness, are satisfied, which means you feel, when you're participating in activity, you feel high confidence, you feel more autonomous, and you're making decision in the activity what you're doing, and you feel connected and belong to with the people surrounding, you are more likely to develop healthier motivations right here: intrinsic motivation, integrated regulation, and identified regulation. If some of that or all of this are very weak, not developed well within yourself, which is basic psychological needs, you are more likely to develop unhealthy regulation. And when you have that, ABCs are not good. Consequences cannot be good. So I started with continuum motivational regulation. I added psychological needs. Then now I'm going to add one more layer to that theory, which is situational factors. So competence, autonomy, and relatedness are key mediators in this theory, omnibus theory. And then how can we help them to develop this psychological need so that they develop a healthier motivation, which will produce positive ABC outcomes? Who can do that? Leaders, you and me, whatever, wherever you work with the people, your leadership style, your decision-making style, your reinforcement interaction with them, motivational climate that you create, caring climate you create, power delegation you decided to do it with your members, all that factors will impact on the level of basic psychological needs, which are closely associated with the level of self-determination, leading to outcomes and consequences of a human ABC. This slide, Dr. Lieutenant talks about giving autonomy to students and athletes and how it can benefit. Dr. Rauer also talks about benefits of coaches giving players more control. So I want you to watch these two videos as an example from the practitioners.